Welcome to Conservation Kids, the show where you have questions about nature and we try to answer them with the help from our friends at Conservation Halton, including Professor Turkey Vulture. Today, we're at Crawford Lake. Let's go find out what our questions are.
Did there used to be dinosaurs here?
No.
Sure. Yes.
Yes.
As a fast yes.
Yeah.
I like it. What do you think?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure?
Yeah, I think dinosaurs was here. I think dinosaurs lived here because I see marks on the trees.
Those are some great questions. Professor Turkey Vulture, have you seen any dinosaurs in the park? Let's go ask an expert. I bet Brenna the park protector is here and she can tell us what she's found in the park.
So we don't know the answer to that question because we've never had a paleontologist actually working at Crawford Lake. But we have had a lot of archaeologists working at Crawford Lake. And archaeologists are a really special type of scientists that look for evidence of humans, things that humans would leave behind. And they found about 10,000 artifacts here at Crawford Lake. And they helped us to understand a little bit more about the history of the ancestors of the Wendat and the neutral people who would have lived here. So one of the artifacts that they would have found, one of the 10,000, is this really beautiful rim of a pot. And you can see the edge of the pot here and the beautiful markings that a woman would have made on here to mark the pot that she made and the beautiful castellations at the top. So that's one of the artifacts that was found at Crawford Lake. And another artifact that archaeologists uncovered, and this one's really small, so it's a little hard to see, but people often think this is an arrowhead, and it's actually a drill bit made out of stone. People who lived in this village had incredible technology, and we find it in the ground. That's what an archaeologist does. And then the last thing that I'll share with you today that people would have found here are tools made out of bone. And so this one is, we think, used for sewing. It's called an awl, and it's made out of a deer bone. And we find these at Crawford Lake. And we found, like I said, over 10,000 artifacts here. And that's what an archaeologist does. They study the layers of history, often in the soil, but sometimes in water. And we find layers of history from the Indigenous period before settlers arrived in Canada, and then from the Indigenous and settler period that came after Canada was formed. So, really cool. So we talked about the history from 600 years ago that we found up near the village, but there's also a layer of settler history that came after that. So when the Crawford family came here from Scotland in the 1820s, they built a cottage down by Crawford Lake and a lumber mill. And I'm sitting on the front porch of their old cottage, or what's left of it. And they also would take their garbage. They didn't have municipal garbages back then, and they would take their garbage out into the woods and dump it. And so when we go out for walks in the woods, sometimes we find really unusual things, like this bottle cap that was left behind, or an old teacup, or top of a paint tube, or for a really modern artifact, because artifacts don't have to be old. All things that humans have left behind are considered artifacts. This is a Lego or a Duplo truck that was found in the lake, and you can see the white calcium on it. That's one of the layers that we find down in the lake, and that's all over this beautiful old artifact. So history is like a layer cake, and Crawford Lake is telling that story through the sediment in the lake and also through the sediment up in the village.
There you have it, Milo. Thanks for your question about dinosaurs. We haven't found any evidence of dinosaurs at this park, but what we have found is artifacts throughout the park. And the people that find those are archaeologists, and archaeologists study these artifacts. Archaeologists use those clues to discover Indigenous longhouses just like these ones behind us. So thanks for finding the answer for us, Brenna the Park Protector, and thank you, Professor Turkey Vulture, for helping us out. Our Conservation Kids tip for today is to make sure that everything you take into the park you take out of the park. And that means that we're not leaving plastics behind, especially because they can last up to 1,000 years, which is like forever. And the other thing that you can do is bring your own reusable water bottle.